In The Crucible, Arthur Miller wrote the tragedy of a man who gives his life for his integrity. John Proctor was hanged because he refused to confess to being a witch in the hysterical Salem, Massachusetts of 1692. In Miller's play, he almost does confess, not because he's a witch, but because he should be punished for his real sin, adultery. He had slept with a young servant in his household, Abigail Williams. Now she leads the pack of adolescent girls who are crying witchcraft on people in Salem, including, eventually, Proctor's wife, Elizabeth. Proctor knows that Abigail hopes to send Elizabeth to the gallows and have Proctor to herself. In trying to save his wife, Proctor becomes entangled in the affairs of that court and eventually finds himself accused. When Miller wrote The Crucible in 1952, many saw it as a parable of the McCarthyite anti-communist hysteria of that time, which destroyed lives with lies and baseless accusations. Miller himself said as much. He made powerful theater from it, and St. Louis University's theater, under Lucy Cashin's direction, recently staged a powerful production of it. Tall Ross Rubright made a hard-driving, quick-witted, short-tempered Proctor. Molly Meyer was his self-possessed, cool, perhaps sometimes even cold wife, Elizabeth. Also quick-witted in self-defense and in aggression was Carly Cosper as a passionate Abigail Williams. Sarah Richardson's Mary Warren, a Proctor servant, almost had enough courage to end the plague. Andre Eslamian probed the troubled mind of the Reverend John Hale, the intellectual expert on witches. Caleb Vetter's Reverend Samuel Parris, weak pastor of the Salem Church, always sought his own advantage, and his daughter Betty, played by Millie Tobar, was the first of the girls to suffer a hysterical coma. Emma Glose and Benjamin Hopkins played Anne and Thomas Putnam, who increased their already substantial wealth by seizing the lands of the convicted. Nick Balin made a touchingly venerable Rebecca Nurse, and Rio Kalish's Giles Corey stood solidly with John Proctor. Luke Fava and Ashton Lively confirmed the stereotype of the dour, rigid Puritan as Deputy Governor Danforth and Judge Hawthorne, come down from Boston to conduct the trials. Divinity Burgos made lyrical the praise of Lucifer and of her Barbados home by Reverend Parris's slave, Tituba. Spencer Lawton made arrest as the town clerk, and Molly Dipple and Elena Neer as two of the girls, crying "Witch" complete the cast. All do solid work. Almost all have the names of inhabitants of Salem in 1692, and most suffer the identical fates. But Miller enhanced both the dramatic and the moral intensity of the play by inventing Proctor's adultery with Abigail, of which there is no account in the records, but which may have increased the play's intensity as Miller struggled at the time in his own marriage. Jim Burwinkle's set of movable towers faced with spaced wood strips ingeniously served for both Salem's woods and its buildings, enhanced by David LaRosa's lighting. While it didn't bother me, I didn't get the point of the period mix in Lou Bird's costumes. I admired Lucy Cashin's direction of the cast and use of the large stage. But I was sorry that her opening of the play in the woods had only childhood games for the girls and nothing of Tituba's conjuring of the devil that the play describes, and that she ended not with Proctor's fierce destruction of his signed confession in order to save his name, and with his wife Elizabeth's declaration, "He has found his goodness." But she ended with Elizabeth reciting a benediction to the audience, a sentimental ending to a very unsentimental play.
Yes, that's true. I hope someday to live in a time when this play doesn't seem relevant anymore.
Oh, one can hope.